hope with the aid of this model of Millheugh here to be able to explain exactly what's going on down there. Now, prior to all the construction work that's presently there, Millheugh was a slightly different looking place altogether, and this is one of the old photographs, and this is even prior to work being carried out by the Avon Angling Club in the late 1990s. But what we're hoping to demonstrate is a cheaper and easier option for fish passage at this location. So we'll come back to the model. If you totally disregard these coloured pegs at the moment and the light colours on the weir, that's how the dam basically looked before the current fish pass was built on it. And what actually happened was in 1993 a fish ladder was installed at Blantyre Weir, which was an impassable barrier to salmon up until that time. And since then, salmon and sea trout have been coming up the River Clyde and into the tributaries looking for places to spawn. What we find strange is it's taking so long for anybody to actually address the problem at Millheugh. But back in the 1990s, after the fish pass was installed at Blantyre, the then Avon Angling Club management team, myself included, and one or two of the lads that will be in the hall tonight were there, consulted with SEPA and the Freshwater Fisheries Laboratories at Pitlochry, and Ross Gardner came down, and together we looked at the situation and we decided that the best place for fish passage would be here. So the initial cut was made, it was 3 feet, and that cut was monitored throughout the whole of that autumn and winter periods, and fish were seen actually ascending the weir at this point. They were still trying to jump at these various other points here, which we'll come on to later, but fish were actually seen to come up through and pass through. And this was backed up by electrofishing evidence when we were collecting broodstock in Glengable water, because we caught an awful lot of sea trout that year. The following year we did electrofishing surveys, and amongst the juveniles we actually found salmon cross sea trout juveniles. The observations brought us to the conclusion that we actually needed to increase the size of the gap in the weir. So the following year, volunteers once again with equipment length years returned to the weir, and we opened the gap up to about 6 feet. And we left it at that because we were afraid of erosion further downstream to the island. And it's been like that ever since, until this structure appeared. But what we would have done to remedy the situation at Millheugh is, the first thing we would have done is hired in a compressor with 2 air hoses, and we would have gone out onto the weir here, and with the air hoses and pinch bars etc, we would have removed some of this debris, the boulders and gravel etc, giving us access to these scour holes. The scour holes would have been opened under a controlled situation, which then would have allowed us to move a lot of this built up stuff over the years. It would be washed into this very deep area here. And as we moved along we would expose all of the scour holes. If these had been opened up then, the whole of the river would actually go down through these, and there would be absolutely no need for any artificial dams or sandbags or anything. And it would take a pretty high water to go from that situation to pouring over the dam again. So it would give us a fairly good window of opportunity during the summer months to actually go in. And what we would have done is, these light areas are areas of repair to serious erosion and other things. And what actually happens is the fish jump up on here, they swim up in there and they get stuck here. They jump up on there and they get stuck there. They'll jump up here and they'll swim up here, and then they hit a slip and they can go no further. So by carrying out the recommendations in the Atkins feasibility survey, we would repair all of these areas here. Then we would remove another section of the dam, making that area wider, and drilling into the bedrock and existing concrete, we would insert upright posts. Now these posts would be approximately half a metre in high, and they would probably be made out of reinforced concrete, which would help them blend in with the aesthetics of the dam, unlike the present structure. Once this is all done, these pads could be closed up and the river height raised again, with most of the flow coming down through this gap, which keeps this pool nice and fresh in the summer, because before we cut the original holes, this pool used to stagnate pretty badly in the summertime. We would also carry out repairs